All right, so today I want to talk about adding files in a Git repo, changes I've made, taking those and putting them into the index or staging them, in other words, and then how I prepare a commit then, and then make that commit, and some of the commands that I like to use to do that, all from within the command line. So the very first thing here, I've got a repo with some changes in it. 3 different files are modified. So the first thing I might do if I'm ready to check in changes, I might use the git add command with the patch flag. And when I run this, I can go through each chunk or hunk of changes. I can decide what I want to do with this. In this case, I could use yes to go ahead and accept that and put it into the index or stage it. So a lot like putting a check mark next to an item on a to-do list. That one's ready. I'd then move on to the next one. And in this case, if I'm not ready to add this, I could go ahead and just say no here. That'll make no changes in that case. And then in the third example here, I notice in this case, it looks like a difference in spacing, which indicates to me that maybe I formatted a file. And if I don't want to check in those formatting changes, I might want to bail out of this process here, just quit out and stop adding items. And if I clear this out and look at the status here, you can see we just have that one change stage right now. And then instead of adding, I can actually restore things, like I can undo the formatting of that file. In that case, I can use a different command, the git restore command. And again, I can add the patch flag to that. When I run that, I'm not going to restore this. I don't want to undo this. But when I go to that next change here, you can see that's the one with spacing differences. So in this case, if I just hit yes here, and then in the next case here, this is spacing as well. So I can hit yes to that. Same thing here, yes to that. And then I don't want to restore this one. This is actually changes I want to keep. So I'm assuming at this point, I'm probably done with those formatting changes because I moved on to another file here. This is git aliases, and that previously was git helpers. So I'm actually going to quit out at this point because I don't know of anything else that I want to restore. And now if I take a look at the git add patch mode again, basically start the process of adding once again, I can go through and I can decide, well, in this case, no, I don't want that item. I want to leave that. In this case, maybe yes, I want this item. And then in this case, oh, I guess there's actually something else that I want to restore. So I'll quit out of this now. And then I'll use the restore command again with patch. And I'll just skip over the items until I get to this one right here. This is one I want to restore. All right, once that's done now, go back to adding things. I just have this one thing left that I'm not going to add, so I'll hit no to that. And there you go, I'm done. So I like this interactive workflow when using the patch command to git add or git restore, because I can go through individual hunks of a file or chunks of a file, basically a small set of the changes that I've made, and I can decide, is this ready or is this not ready? And then once I've done that, if I look at the status here, you can see most of the changes here are staged. However, there are a few left. And of course, if I run a git diff here, you can see I left behind that one change. And if I look at a git diff of what is actually staged or cached, you can see the other changes that I added. I think there are 2 separate hunks that I added. And so now I'm ready to, I'll look at the status again here. Now I can go ahead and make a commit here, and I can describe whatever those changes are. And then once that's done, you can see I have the one change left. If I do a diff on it, got that one. And so now I could go work on more changes related to this. Or if I'm ready to add this now, I could do the same thing once again, just use git add patch. It's a nice interactive workflow, even with a single change here. Just hit yes. Now you can see that's staged. And then if for some reason I want to unstage something, so not revert it, basically not undo the change, but I want to take it out of the stage, put it back into just a working tree. In that case, there's one more command, git restore, with the staged flag and the patch flag. Now I can go through one by one each of the things inside of the index, and I can decide to basically take them out of the index and put them back just into the working tree. So in this case, I can say yes to this item. Now, if I look at the status, you can see it's back to just changes in the working tree. And so now I could go off and I could work on this. So I really like these patch flag commands because I like that interactive process of stepping through changes and looking at a small subset of what actually was modified, instead of maybe trying to look at everything all at once to go through a diff and then try to add everything with the add all, and then cross my fingers that I didn't accidentally include something I don't want. Instead, I like this interactive workflow.